Congratulations for making it this far in the tutorials. You already have learned a lot about MySQL Server Management, and in this part of the tutorial I'd like to provide you with a series of videos where I show you how you can connect with MySQL Server using multiple different programming languages. This video is dedicated to PHP, and I'll describe you how you can create a PHP script that connects to MySQL Server and retrieves data from it. And in the next videos, we'll be working on other type of programming languages. I'm logged into the server and I'm using MySQL_tutorials database. Let's take a look at the tables that we have here by doing show tables. Here we have a table called students. Let's take a look at the records by selecting all records from the students table, and these are the records stored in this specific table. We are about to create a PHP script that connects to the server and retrieves all these records from the students table and shows them on the browser. To run PHP scripts on your local machine or on your server, you need to have PHP installed on that machine. I have already installed PHP on my machine and it's running as my local server on the public directory. So I open a new window and navigate to that specific directory by change directory and then the name of it. And here I want to create a directory called MySQL, and inside it I will create my PHP script. I will upload this folder with all the programs after it's completed, after this series of programming languages, and I will give you the link so you can download it and see the codes and work on it if needed. Now I create a directory called MySQL and then navigate to it. And here I use Vim editor to create and edit the PHP script, but you can feel free to use any other text editor or IDE or Nano or whatever you want. I'm just trying to use as few tools as possible to make everything simple to understand. So I use Vim for editing this file. So I type vim index PHP that creates the file, and at the same time it opens the file to edit. Okay, now let's start with typing the script. First of all, we create the connection, and this connection needs some information like the server name, username, and password for the MySQL server. So let's create those variables first, and we start with the server name. I'm using the default one, that is localhost, and after that the username to that server. Let's use the root username for now, and the password for it, I'm using a simple password for this tutorial, and then the database name, and we will be using this MySQL tutorials database. So now we have all the information to create the connection. We also create a connection and store it as a variable, as another variable. So I type create connection as the comment, and CONN is a very common name for the connection variable, and here we need to use the MySQL I_connect function of PHP to create the connection. This function gets the server name, the username, password, in database, all of the variables that we created beforehand. Now, first of all, we need to check the connection to make sure we can connect to it. We can do it using an if statement. So if the connection is not made, we can end the process by the die function and output some errors here. For example, connection failed, and then output the native PHP error by MySQL connect error. Otherwise, it means that the connection has been successful, so we can output a success message. So far, we have attempted to connect and we have checked the connection. So let's save the file so far and test it once. The script is created inside the MySQL directory on the local host. So to check it, we need to type the browser name and then localhost and then the directory name. And as you see, we have been able to connect to the server successfully. Now let's extend the script a little bit more to retrieve the data from it. I go to the Vim editor again and let's delete this line. Now I create another variable called SQL that carries our SQL statement. Select all from students, and since we are using the MySQL tutorials, it's able to select from the tables inside this database. Also, we need another variable, let's call it result, that passes the SQL query, our SQL statement, using the query function of PHP to the connection this way. And here, using another if statement, we check if we are receiving any actual data. So we type if result numbers is greater than 0, meaning that if we are receiving any data from the table, while row equals result, and then fetched the associated data. Now we can retrieve the data here. We can, for example, echo, set a label for it. For example, the ID will be row, and inside the bracket, the exact name of the field. Here we have ID, so here we need to type the exact name of the column, and then we can concatenate to other records, another label. For example, first name will be equal to row, again the exact column name on the MySQL table, and again connected to another one, last name, and also score will be row score. And if we want each record to go in a separated line, we can add a br tag of HTML to it, and at the end we need to close the connection, of course, for the security reason, by typing MySQL I underscore close and pass the connection variable to it. So this will be the whole script that connects to the MySQL server and retrieves data from the students table. Let's save it again and call it using the Firefox. And here, as you see, we have all those labels plus the records from the MySQL server. Last name was the label we created, and this one is the record, the actual record on our MySQL table. This is the way that you can create a PHP script that connects to MySQL and retrieves data from it. Of course, you can use other type of MySQL statements. We created just a simple select statement here, but whatever you have learned from the lessons on this playlist, you can use them as the MySQL statement here and execute them on your server using PHP with a script like this. PHP and MySQL are very meshed together, and in most cases, PHP scripts use MySQL as their database management server. In the next videos, we'll be working on other types of programming languages and connect those ones to MySQL server as well for you to see.